Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with a look at Saskatchewan's COVID-19 numbers. 4 people who tested positive for COVID-19 in Saskatchewan have died. The government is opening the vaccine booking system up to everyone aged 40 years and over starting today. There are 264 new cases in the province, with 24 in the northwest. 10 of those are in the immediate Lloydminster area, where we have 103 active cases. 2,426 cases are considered active in Saskatchewan, with 196 in the northwest. 173 people are in hospital, with 6 in the northwest. To date, 203 cases in our zone are variants of concern. Close to 430,000 vaccine doses have been administered in Saskatchewan, with over 30,000 of those in our zone. The government has extended all public health orders until May 10th. The Lloyd Mall is partnering up with Art of Flowers Lloydminster to give residents a nice gift idea for Mother's Day coming up. They're hosting a planner workshop this Saturday on May 1st, and our Shelby Clark got the details.
I'm joined here today for Primetime Local News with Kelly Lynn Joy with Art of Flowers Lloydminster. Thank you so much for joining us today. Now, what is this workshop that will be happening this weekend on May 1st?
Actually, it's being held at Lloyd Mall, and Lloyd Mall and my company, Art of Flowers, got together, and we are doing a planter workshop geared towards like families so that they can make something for their moms for Mother's Day. So it's going to be a lot of fun, I think. I'm really looking forward to doing that.
And what all can residents expect to be doing in this workshop?
Well, we're going to be building a planter for indoor plants with, parents, maybe grandparents with children to give to their moms. So it's going to be a lot of fun, I think. Just something for someone to do to get ready for Mother's Day, to have a really nice present that they've made themselves, which is always a nice thing when you can make something handmade yourself, right?
Mm-hmm. And how can people pre-register for this, and how much is a spot?
It is $59.99, and you can go online to our website, which is www.lloydminsterflorist.com, and just type in Lloyd Mall, and it'll pop up automatically. It is on our Mother's Day page, and it is on our home page. So if you scroll down the page far enough, you'll find it, and you can register on there. You can put your name, you can put what time slot that you want, the 10 a.m. or the 1 p.m. We do have the 10 p.m. pretty much filled. And so, but we're going to have like 15 spots for each class. And it's going to be very well done because we'll have everybody at separate stations. All of the supplies will be on the stations. It will be very COVID rules are going to be followed. We'll have hand sanitizer at the stations. And so, yeah, it's going to be, I think it's going to be a real good time.
And I was going to ask if you can expand a bit on what safety protocols will be in place for COVID-19, just for people wondering.
Well, we want everybody to obviously wear their masks. They have separate stations, and they're going to be like 6 feet apart from each other. So everybody will be at their own stations. Hopefully everybody will be pretty much stationary and whatnot. So there shouldn't be any need to be moving around, because we'll have all of their supplies that they're going to need on their individual tables. And of course, like I said, hand sanitizer at the stations, and, so definitely we'll have the spacing and whatnot, the social distancing.
And has support been strong so far for this workshop idea?
You know what? I think people are hesitating because of COVID. But like I said, we have all the rules in place for us having this class. So hopefully people will, do a last minute registering. And I think people were just a little bit leery because they didn't know if rules were going to change or whatnot, right? So it's starting to pick up steam now for sure. Whereas before, like even last week, we were like, but now it's starting to pick up. People are starting to go, okay, nothing has changed. No rules have changed. So let's book. And worst case scenario, if the rules do change and we get locked down again, we do have full refunds. We can reschedule. That's not an issue at all. So it's going to be, the best of both worlds. If you register and we do the class, great. If it ends up being, that we have to reschedule it or we refund you, then you still get all of your money back. You haven't lost anything.
And what inspired Art of Flowers Lloydminster to partner with Lloyd Mall to have this workshop to teach residents planting tips and everything involved?
Well, you know, the wonderful thing is Shannon from Lloyd Mall approached me. And at first I was a little bit leery because Mother's Day is one of our big holidays, floral holidays. And it's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be so swamped with everything else. But I thought about it and I said to her, well, I definitely can't do it the weekend of Mother's Day. I said, but we could do it the week before and it'll work out perfect because they'll have the planter made up for their mom and they can just give it to her on Mother's Day, right? So lucky me, I have a gal who has a lot of greenhouse experience with plants and whatnot. She has like 15, 20 years at a greenhouse. She's one of my florists here. And I asked her if she would help me run this class. And she said, for sure, she loves that. She also has experience with classes and schools and whatnot too, because she's also worked there for about 10 years or so. So she's going to be a very good instructor with me as her helper, of course. So.
And is there anything else you'd like to add for people to know about that Art of Flowers Lloydminster will be doing for Mother's Day or anything else coming up?
You know, the thing of it is we're going to have lots of stuff in our walk-in cooler. We have 3 coolers that are going to be filled with all kinds of arrangements at all price points. So, I mean, if you pre-order your flowers, that's wonderful. That's great. You're going to get first dibs on all the freshest and best flowers with first choice on those said flowers. But I mean, you can always walk in. We're going to be open on Mother's Day. So if you're worried that we won't be, we definitely will be. And there's going to be lots of product for you to check, to choose from, right? I just wanted to mention too about the Lloyd Mall. They're going to be doing some door prizes and swag bag giveaways. So, I mean, it's a great activity to do with mom, grandma, and the kids. And plus, you're going to get some great prizes too, right? And giveaways supplied by the Lloyd Mall retailers.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
One of the new hobbies people have picked up during the pandemic is gardening. And now as we're heading into May, people are starting up their garden once again. A popular vegetable that people grow in their gardens is potatoes. Jim Williams, owner of Lawns Gardens Landscape, says that he gets a lot of questions on how to avoid getting scabs on your potatoes and that there's a simple solution.
Keep your soil nice and loose. Keep your soil moist for the first 3 to 4 weeks in the spring, and that'll help reduce the alkalinity by flushing it through a little bit, and that'll have less chance of getting scabs.
How deep you plant your fruits and vegetables can also have an effect on how strong they grow and their fertility.
There's little fibers that go right up the stalk of the tomato plant. This tomato plant should be able to plant this tomato plant right up to approximately right here, about 1/3 of the distance up or a little more. That'll help provide a stouter, stronger plant in the ground, as well as giving all of these little hair roots a chance to fiber out and create more area to draw its fertility and strength from.
Having the correct watering technique will also have a big effect on the growth of your plants. Now our Connor Chan will take a first look at your weather forecast.
Well, thanks very much, Jasmine. It is a beautiful day to do some gardening as we are finally seeing warm temperatures. And of course, when we woke up around the 9 a.m. morning, or at least when I woke up around the 9 a.m. this morning, went to my car, very warm. It wasn't as brisk as we have seen over the last little bit here. The wind's picking up though a little bit, so it is feeling a little bit chillier, but the warm temperatures are going to continue at least for the next couple of hours or so. And then we are going to see pretty decent temperatures overnight tonight, carrying over into tomorrow and to the weekend. We could see some scattered showers in our area heading into that 6 to 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock range. But take a look at temperatures in the immediate regions here. 21 in Vermilion and Marwayne along with Wainwright. 23 for Vegreville. 19 up in Bonnyville with 21 also in Cold Lake. 21 also for Edmonton. As we look to Saskatchewan right now, we see 24 degrees in Macklin with 24 also in North Battleford, then 20s in Meadow Lake and St. Walburg, 23 for Maidstone, and then 19 degrees up in Pierceland, Green Lake, and Isle La Crosse sitting at 18 degrees. Now here's a look at the satellite radar map. This is from a little bit earlier. It is going to we are going to see some precipitation making its way through. As I mentioned, it's going to be kind of scattered. It's not all in a bunch there where we'll see a bunch of areas there. So we could see our mark getting around that 8 o'clock range where we will start to see just a little bit of showers, not a whole lot. It'll kind of go down south of Wainwright around that 6:30 mark and then make its way more further east towards us, and we'll possibly see some of just a little bit of rain. But taking a look to overnight at North Battleford, cloud coverage at 4 degrees, going into 17 degrees tomorrow for the daytime high. So still continuing that trend of nice temperatures for the weekend. Looking ahead to overnight in Cold Lake, drops to 3 degrees overnight and a chance of some more showers throughout the day with that daytime high of 16. And then for us here in Lloydminster, 5 degrees overnight and then 17 tomorrow with a little bit more cloud coverage in the forecast. And then we will see our fair share of rain on Sunday with a high of 9 and a 56% chance of those showers coming. And then going into Monday, it'll be clear skies with that daytime high of 11, but a fairly chilly evening and morning as we will see daytime lows of -7. That is a look at your weather forecast for now. We'll have more primetime local news after the break.
The Lloydminster Bobcats are in a difficult financial position after COVID-19 restrictions forced the team to the sidelines this season. This week, City Council discussed and approved support options for the team. Evan Kenny sat down with Jace Mackey to discuss what Council's decision means for the team and the city.
It's big for us. I think, in talking to our board and talking to the council, I said it's a victory for us, especially right now. It seems like we haven't had one for a long time going through all this, right? And, not only for our hockey program, but as a whole, it seems like we talk about more negatives than we do positives. And this was definitely a step in the right direction, and a big positive for us moving forward to next year.
Well, that was Lloydminster Bobcats head coach and general manager Nigel Dubé just after when City Council announced that the Lloydminster Bobcats would be getting help with the daytime ice. Joining me today to break this all down is our City Council reporter, Jace Mackey. Jace, thanks for taking this time.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Evan.
Now, Jace, I guess first things first, can you just break down this whole process for us, from, I guess, the time when it started up until this past Monday?
Yeah, so the Bobcats definitely, like many other organizations and businesses during this pandemic, have been placed in a difficult position. Pro sports is a difficult one where you can't have people in the stands, or if you could, it was kind of limited and stuff. And then when the AJHL got approval from the Alberta government to restart their season, here in Lloydminster, they needed the SHA to come in and approve it. And that never ended up happening. So they kind of had to shelve their season. So that put them in a difficult financial position. So earlier this year, head coach and general manager of the Bobcats, Nigel Dubé, came before City Council during a GPC meeting, kind of outlaying, all their financial difficulties they're in and making his pitch for financial support. So he was pointing out all the community work that they do for the city. And then after that, city administration kind of was going through some options. And then this week they presented some support options to City Council.
They have corporate sponsorship and advertising dollars that they work with from businesses and things like that. But at the same token, their revenue opportunities are very limited, which puts a lot of pressure on their expense side. And certainly in discussions with the Bobcats, administration went back and forth with the Bobcat organization to find something that was amiable for both parties, that administration felt council could live with, that would help the Bobcats.
All right, Jace. So I guess, the thing that's on a lot of taxpayers' minds and, residents of Lloydminster is money. So let's go through the numbers here. Can you just take us through that, Jace?
Yeah, so the support option that council approved is they're waiving daytime ice fees for the Bobcats next season. So that's going to be their practice time. So city administration is expecting that this is going to cost the city between $8,000 and $12,000, and that depends on if the Bobcats make the playoffs. So if they're going to need to use that ice for practice further on down the year, they're going to be closer to that $12,000 mark, but that really depends on how things go next season. Now the Bobcats are still going to be playing for game time ISO, so it's not like they're going to be getting out of this scot-free.
Yeah, and Jason, a big point in this from City Council is that they are paying for that game time ice, which is sort of those prime time ice slots there, right around that 7 o'clock on a Friday or on a Saturday night. Anybody would love to have those ice slots but their practice times right around that 1 in the afternoon. It's considered dead ice where, the city already has the ice there. They're already paying employees to be there. It is a little more economically feasible for the city to be making these kind of adjustments. And Jace, kind of just adding on one more point there, helping out the Bobcats financially could also be helping them out with success on the ice. In the past, we've seen different teams, the Brooks Bandits, Spruce Grove Saints, two of the powerhouses of the AJHL. And, even going a little further back, the Fort McMurray Oil Barons, all these teams, they're the wealthiest teams in the AJHL, and they do have success on the ice. So, it's not like the Bobcats are going to be receiving a ton of money or receiving money really at all, but just helping them with this little bit of leeway, we might be able to see that translate to success on the ice.
Yeah, exactly. And that was something that in the city council meeting that was discussed, is that this is something that the city of Lloydminster can do to help the Bobcats, but it's not, giving away a bunch of money, and they're not helping a rich owner at this time. A lot of people might think, pro sports, why are we helping them with tax money? But this was a community team that's in a difficult spot, and this was a way for city council to just help them out of that difficult spot just a little bit.
The Bobcats are owned. It was discussed by an ownership group, but I can tell you, anyone in the Alberta Junior Hockey League will tell you that it's not a very profitable business. If profit isn't a word they use, they talk about community support. And it's not owned, it's not a community-owned team. It's owned by businesses and individuals that put money forward, which I appreciate. But at the same token, it plays a huge role in our community. The Bobcats organization has realized how important giving back to the community is, and they have for a very long time. Those young men set a good example for a lot of people in our community, and young hockey players, male and female, aspire to follow those Bobcats as they move forward in their hockey careers. So I think it sets a really good example, and what we tried to do was find something that would be fair to the community and fair to help the Bobcats. By all means, I'm sure they're going to be out fundraising, because we haven't addressed a big piece of their expense line, but we were able to do something that we feel was reasonable.
And Jace, obviously the Lloydminster Bobcats Junior A team is the main tenant of the Civic Center. And the Civic Center, that's something that's been brought up for the last couple of years and will continue to be brought up for, the next handful going forward. But I guess just what would, the future of the Civic Center look like if the Bobcats, lost some money and lost some productivity, really?
Yeah, and that was another thing that was important for council when it comes to, giving support to this team. Is it's important for this community to have a local junior A team here in town. It's something that's, especially in Alberta, Saskatchewan, those local teams are really driving for community spirit and stuff like that. But when it comes to the Civic Center, about 2 years ago, there was a engineering report done on the lifespan of the Civic Center. And at the time, they said that the Civic Center has about 2 to 7 years left in its left for it to operate right now. So that was 2 years ago. There's going to be another engineering report coming before council. We're at that 5-year mark. So if the Bobcats end up leaving Lloydminster, what would be the point of building a new rink when there's no tenant for it? So that was something too that they want to ensure that they have a tenant in that arena, not only for community spirit, but also, to make revenue for the city a little bit.
And Jace, obviously it does benefit the Junior A Bobcats, but as well, obviously minor hockey uses it, figure skating, rec hockey, a number of different things. But outside of hockey, we've seen it being used for different things. Back when the Border City hosted the Oilers and the Flames alumni, back when, we hosted the Junior A National Championship here in Lloydminster, there's a lot of different possibilities that a structure like the Civic Center could be used for.
Yeah, you're exactly right there, Evan. That was something that also came up in council is, those tournaments down the road that the city would like to host. If there's no team here, there may not be a new arena. And if there's no arena, Lloydminster is going to be overlooked when it comes to tournaments like that.
Well, Jace, thank you very much for taking this time and joining me. Should be interesting, moving forward, not just with the Bobcats, watching them in the future, but as well, as we mentioned, with the Civic Center here.
Now we're calling our channel. Take another look at your weather forecast.
All right, thanks very much, Jasmine. Still fairly warm in the area and still warm across most parts of the country. As we look at our temperatures right now, 20 degrees are still sitting at. The winds also a little bit close to 30 kilometers an hour, so it is still pretty gusty outside right now. 22 degrees in Edmonton and Red Deer, 21 in Rocky Mountain House, 18 degrees for Edson. And as we look at Whitecourt, sitting at 19 right now, and Jasper at 15. Looking to Saskatchewan, where we see some temperatures a little bit warmer than us here, 24 in Saskatoon and in North Battleford, with 22 also in Prince Albert and Melfort, and then 21s for both Cold Lake and in Meadow Lake. Take a look to northern Alberta and Saskatchewan. We'll start with northern Saskatchewan. It is fairly warmer today compared to yesterday, well, at least for some cities, as we look at La Loche and Buffalo Narrows sitting at 20 degrees each. 14 degrees in La Ronge, with 5 degrees out in South End, -2 in Stony Rapids, and then 0 degrees for Uranium City and 6 in Flin Flon. Looking to northern Alberta, also fairly warm, with 16 we see for Grand Prairie, Peace River sitting at 17, along with Fort McMurray, and then 15 degrees, for High Level, and then 12 degrees in Slave Lake. Now, southern Alberta is seeing some very warm temperatures, as well as southern Saskatchewan is I'm covering part of it, but you can still see some of it on the board here. 21 degrees in Lethbridge and Calgary, 26 in Medicine Hat right now, with 24 up in Coronation, and then 13 degrees all the way in Banff. Not as warm as most people would think for today. Take a look to southern Saskatchewan, 25-degree marks we see in Kindersley and Swift Current, with 27s in Moose Jaw, Regina, and in Estevan, with 20 degrees all the way out in Yorkton. Of course, we could see some showers making its way through the areas over the course of the evening, kind of scattered throughout the evening. As we look to Winnipeg, as they're seeing some of those showers right now, and parts of Ontario are also seeing that. 10 degrees though for Winnipeg, with 8 in Quebec City, 7 degrees for Toronto, with 6 in Halifax, seeing those same showers, 4 degrees in St. John's with that continued cloud coverage. As we look to Vancouver, 17 degrees for them right now. A little bit of flurry activity in Yellowknife up at 1 degree, and then Whitehorse sitting at 10 degrees with the sun and cloud mix. Now, looking ahead to temperatures for the weekend, we are going to be warm once again, as we see temperatures seeing at 17 degrees for our area in Lloydminster, Vermilion, Marwayne, Bonnyville, and Cold Lake sitting at 16 degrees apiece, 14 in Lac La Biche. We'll see that 16 degrees also in Vegreville, 15 for Wainwright, and 16 for both Provost and Macklin. 17 degrees for Maidstone and North Battleford and Meadow Lake, as well, as we look at Saskatchewan. So they'll be pretty similar to what we will see here in the central Alberta area. 15 all the way up there in St. Walrick, and 15 in Isle La Crosse. Now, looking ahead to the next 7 days, we could see some more rain on Sunday, with a 53% chance of that happening, and a little bit cooler at 9 degrees. Clear skies expected for Monday with that high of 11. We are going to see a little bit cooler mornings and overnights, with that low of -8 on Monday, -4 for Tuesday with a high of 13, and we'll see mostly sun and cloud mixes throughout the week, with a high of 16 for Wednesday, 17 on Thursday, and then Friday we'll see a little bit of increased cloudiness with that high of 13 degrees. That is a look at your 7-day forecast for now. We'll have more primetime local news after the break. Well, joining us for the Friday entertainment panel is Abby St. John. Abby, there's a few things on the agenda. Last week on the weekend, we got a chance to see a first look at Steven Spielberg's reimagining of West Side Story, which of course has been done before. And then of course now we're getting this new remade version with Ansel Elgort set to lead. So just overall, your impression of what you saw in the trailer.
I think it's going to be really good. You know, I'm never really disappointed with Steven Spielberg. And like you said, it's going to be starring Ansel Elgort and newcomer Rachel Zelger as Tony and Maria. So it should be interesting. It's going to be kind of a fresh new take on it, but still keeping with the themes of the original. So I'm pretty excited for it. And Rita Moreno, who won the Oscar for her portrayal of Anita in the 1961 film, she's an executive producer on this film, so you'll have that original insight into that film. But she also made a brief appearance in the trailer as Valentina, the shop owner where Tony works. So she's going to be in the film too. So it's kind of interesting having that crossover into the new film. So I'm very excited to see where it goes. You know, this is only the first teaser trailer, so when bigger trailers and longer trailers come out, hopefully we'll be able to see a little bit more about what we can fully expect. But I think this is going to be a really good film.
And just from that teaser trailer, the music itself is very, suspenseful, and it just creates that real 80s vibe there that movie gives off, or rather the late 50s to 70s vibe, I guess you want to call it. But regardless, it just looks stunning. Now, moving on to some other news, of course, there is a new Superman movie that is in the works right now that hasn't officially gone. No real other news on that front, but there are rumors of who could play the lead there. I've seen Reggae Jean Paul's name thrown out there as a potential rumor, but there is one actor, Abby, whose name seems to be thrown out all the time.
Yes, it's been a long persisted rumor that Michael B. Jordan will be the first Black actor to play the Man of Steel in J.J. Abrams' Superman reboot. I would love to see that. In an interview, he did confirm his awareness of the rumors, but he did not give any confirmation whatsoever of the truth behind it. He did say, you hear the whispers and the rumors and stuff like that, and it's just a compliment. I appreciate people that think about me in that type of way for these roles. I would love to see him play the Man of Steel. I would love to see him be the first Black actor to play Superman, because I think he will do a fantastic job at it. And he obviously has so much more. He has so much support from the internet and those who want him to play. So I think it would be a perfect casting if he were to play Superman.
And of course, he is going to be directing Creed 3 too, so hopefully maybe if it does happen, schedules can work out for him to do both those projects simultaneously or one after the other. And one of the last things, Abby, we're talking about, the movie Another Round, which won Best International Feature at the Oscars last weekend, is now in the potential to get an English remake with the rights acquired by Leonardo DiCaprio, who is set to star. So what could this mean potentially for the English remake coming out soon?
Yes, it was almost immediately, the rights for it was almost immediately grabbed by Leo, and he will be starring as it. The original stars Mads Mikkelsen, so that will be the role that Leonardo DiCaprio kind of takes on. Now, this film follows 4 high school teachers who decide to consume alcohol on a daily basis to see how it affects their social and professional lives. I think this is a perfect film to bring an English version for, and I think Leonardo DiCaprio is a kind of a perfect person to play that role. Everyone knows the exceptional range that he has in the different roles that he's played throughout his entire career. So I think this is just another one that's going to add to his resume, and I'm very excited to see what they do with the film, or if they're going to change some aspects, give it a different storyline, who knows, but I'm very excited to see what they do with it, and I think Leonardo DiCaprio is the perfect person to play this role.
I think he really is, and it's anxious to see too who's going to direct it, as well as who are going to star alongside him. And of course, Leo does have some other projects on the go, including a new Netflix movie with director Adam McKay. Abby St. John, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Coming up tomorrow night, the Thorpe Recovery Center wants you to stay home and do something. It's their annual Night Off fundraiser, and they want you to have a fun night at home with your family. It's an opportunity to get out that favorite dress of yours that maybe you haven't worn in a while and enjoy wearing it again, or put on your favorite suit. And then when you get your ticket, you get access to a playlist that they put together just for you. It's going to feature some great songs from some local artists and a lot of fun music so that you can have a dance party in your kitchen or your living room. They're also going to set you up with a list of great movies that you could watch together as a family, or some suggestions for different games you could play together as a family. Plus, there's going to be a link so that you can order some delicious food from Spiro's. Maybe you enjoy a Maria's favorite on your night off. A great opportunity to support the Thorpe Recovery Center. For all the details, go online to thorperecoverycenter.org. Mother's Day is getting closer, and if you've got kids who love to be creative, they've got an opportunity to make some art for Mom this Mother's Day. The City of Lloydminster has a couple of classes coming up on Wednesday. Wednesday morning at 10, it's Mommy and Me Art. It's for kids between the ages of 3 and 5, and Mom, you get to work together to create a great piece of art. For the older kids, ages 7 to 11, at 4 o'clock on Wednesday afternoon, it's an opportunity for them to make a unique piece of art to give to Mom this Mother's Day. You do need to get registered in advance. Go online, lloydminster.ca/register. Coming up tomorrow, you're invited to St. John's Anglican Church, where they're hosting a spring sale and a baking sale. It's going to run from 10 until 2, a great opportunity to pick up some delicious baking and take a look at all the neat items. They will have protocols in place, including sanitizing, masks, and physical distancing. Well, whatever you choose to do this weekend, we hope you stay safe and stay healthy.
What's Happening is brought to you by Northern Factory Workwear, Circle Drive East, Saskatoon, and Highway 17 South, Lloydminster.
Lauren Rodick-Eberly is back with us again today on Primetime Local News. And today, Lauren, we're talking about something that is very near and dear to your heart, which is Kids Who Explore. We had initially talked to you about the podcast and the program. So how is things going with that now? And is there anything new that's involved with the Kids Who Explore?
Yes, I feel like since we talked, so much has changed. Before, I told you the best place to find us was on Instagram, which is still great, but now we have our website up. So kidswhoexplore.ca, and that has all of our information. People can join our email list. Right now we have a planet cleanup virtual event going on. So you'll see a lot of virtual events on there. And then, yeah, our podcast has been so much fun. We're 12 episodes in now. So weekly we're sharing tips with families, and we're still getting everyone involved and having our ambassador families get involved over on Instagram as well.
And just as a reminder, Lauren, for parents and people who may not have had a chance to see the other interview with you, what exactly is the focus of the Kids Who Explore program?
So Kids Who Explore is really just a company that's trying to motivate everyone to get their kids outside and get their families outside, and showing people that it is accessible, even if it is just stepping out your front door. So that's really our motivation, is exposing kids to the outdoors and letting nature help raise our kids.
Now, obviously, during this time, it's a lot more difficult for especially first-time parents to do the traditional things that they would with their children, taking them to group classes and that sort of thing. So I think maybe this is probably more relevant than ever now, even if you just go out as mom and baby. So what are some of the things that you've been able to experience through the Kids Who Explore program? What are some of the things that you recommend, besides walks and that sort of thing, that people can do outside safely with their children at this point?
Yes, well, walks are my favorite, but we like hiking too. Back home in Alberta, we were doing lots of hikes, and on Long Island, I call them more nature walks because there's not as much incline, but there's still so much to see and experience. And to go to the beach with Collins, now she's been able to run around on the sand. So we really try, and that's the great thing about our ambassador families from all over the world, we try and show people how to get outside with all seasons, all weather conditions, and all different places. And like you said, doing so safely.
Now, one of the things, Lauren, as you've been going through your parenthood journey, you have been great at posting on Instagram recommendations for food, for toys, for all kinds of things related to babies and toddlers. How do you go about coming up with these recommendations? Do you actually test out a lot of different brands, or is it just from personal use? How does it happen that you decide on what you think the best products should be?
Yes, I do test them all out. I'm super passionate about what we bring into our home and what's going on our skin and into our bodies, and that become tenfold of having call-ins. I'm very particular about what I'm putting on her. So even with Kids Who Explore, I've been testing out different natural sunscreens and finding what's best. But there's so many ways I find information. There's a bunch of great accounts I follow. Sometimes I'm buying books or ebooks with different recommendations. There's skindeep.com, for example, is one where I research the different ingredients that are in products. And then I love recommendations from other people too. So I do my research and then I test out as much as I can. And then I kind of find the ones that I really think are great for us that I can recommend to others.
Well, Lauren, thank you once again for joining us. The amount of information that you have on your social media and website is just incredible, especially for first-time moms and parents of toddlers. So once again, if people are looking to get this information, Lauren, how do they reach you?
LaurenRodickEberly.com is my website where it all is. And then my Instagram is the same handle, Lauren Rodick Eberly.
All right. Well, Lauren, it's always a pleasure speaking with you. Thanks again for taking the time to talk to us today.
Thank you. Always so great to come.
All right, taking one last look here at your weather forecast. 17 degrees tomorrow going into Sunday. We are going to see a little bit more showers, the 53% chance of that happening with that high of 9 degrees. 11 degrees there for Monday with clear skies. Going into Tuesday, 13 with a sun and cloud mix throughout the day. 16 degrees, we'll see those same sun and cloud mixes on Wednesday, but with that high of 16. 17 on Thursday, and then as we wrap up the 7 days, we'll see 13 degrees on Friday with a little bit more cloud coverage in the forecast.
Thank you for joining us on Primetime Local News. Have a great weekend.